Hey everyone, this is One Take with Jess. Today my guest is Neeka Degraw. Hi Nika. Nika is an old friend of mine. We actually come from the same hometown. She is the sister of musical artist Gavin Degraw, as well as Joey Degraw, musical artist, voiceover artist,
entrepreneur.
He's like jack of all trades.
Really is.
But I'm having Nika on today because she's one of those people that's smiling on the other end of the phone. When you talk to her, even during the worst of times, she sees the silver lining, the light at the end of the rainbow or the tunnel. And I just, you're doing so many things that are impacting people greatly. When bad things happen, you turn and go and do good for others instead of turning inward and feeling sad and sorry for yourself. So totally. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Yep. And it's Friday. So we're doing this. It's happy hour style.
It is.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
What are you drinking?
So I'm drinking what I like to call my afternoon spritzer. This is my dad's afternoon spritzer. I kind of made it up, something that he really enjoys. So all of my love bakers from Baking New Memories, which we'll get to, know that my go-to drink is Pinot Grigio, Yellowtail. I absolutely love it. And so I kind of try to find ways just to spruce it up a little bit, make it a little different here and there. So when my father asked for a drink, I said, well, I'm going to make you a spritzer. So it's just my Yellowtail Pinot Grigio. And then he loves these San Pellegrino sodas. So I don't know if it's COVID related or not, but I'm having a really hard time finding the limonata, which is just like a lemon flavored soda, which I absolutely love in the Pinot Grigio with some fresh squeezed lime, fresh squeezed lemon, and just filled with ice. But this is his other favorite. It's the blood orange. It's got some like crazy name, but it's just blood orange. And I just love the little like color that it gives to it and little extra flavor. It's a little bit sweet, so it adds some sweetness, but I really love like just that citrusy with the lemon and the lime, especially for summer. Any kind of wine. You can use anything you like.
And you make it so pretty. Like you make it so pretty. The ice looks like it's just meeting the top. It's so frosty. It's so appealing.
Thank you. I just threw it together. I gotta taste it. Yes, it's a perfect summer drink. So simple. You don't have to do anything. You need lemons, limes, a little lemon soda or blood orange soda, and white wine.
And it's probably very cooling. You and I were just talking, we were talking about the fact that it's so hot and humid. You're down in Nashville. And I'm up here in New Jersey, and we're sharing like the hot and humidity all across the nation right now.
Totally. You said it feels like the bayou, and I agree 100%. I feel like I'm in Louisiana.
Right.
Walking around.
So your icy drink is matched with my icy drink. This was something I grabbed out of the freezer. I'm not advertising this, but it's one of these.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
But you just squirt it into your glass.
No, it says hurricane.
Oh. Sorry.
I have a story.
Wait, but I have to finish making my cocktail.
Yes.
This is Blue Moon Belgian white beer.
I love that stuff.
And I just add it right in, and it makes like the cherry flavor, and it dilutes the flavor of the beer, and it's a nice refreshing cocktail. It's like if you were to put ice into beer, it would be gross, but if you mix it with this, it turns out to be really flavorful and yummy.
And really cold, because that's an icy drink that you took out of the freezer, right? That hurricane. Mm-hmm. I love that. And when I go to Florida, we actually stock up on all of those, like the pina colada ones and the margarita ones, stick them all in the freezer. And same thing though, I've actually opened those on the beach and just like poured some of my Pinot Grigio in there. I'm a total Pinot Grigio freak. And it's fantastic.
It does say that it contains alcohol, but I do suggest that you do add all of your alcohol.
Add a little more.
Your everything.
Totally. My hurricane story though is actually my first trip to Louisiana, to New Orleans, was a couple of years ago for my birthday. And of course you have to drink a hurricane in New Orleans. This is like, the traditional drink or whatever. Now that one sounds amazing. And you said cherry flavor and all of this. The ones in New Orleans are not like that. Apparently, like the backstory on that is during Prohibition, they tried to come up with something, fun to drink. And so they mixed like gin and vodka and like, you know, just the nastiest home milled stuff.
Is it blue? Does it end up being blue?
No, it's red. It's
It is
red, but
red?
it's not. Yeah, it doesn't taste cherry. And I threw up the entire next day. Okay, on my first trip. But by 6 o'clock, I was ready to go out for dinner and do it all again. But I've never had another hurricane since then.
So your stomach was probably turning when I just mentioned the hurricane.
You know, I don't know. Yeah, but yours sounds good though. I might try that.
It is. So cheers to a very happy hour.
Happy hour. Love
So
it.
let's talk about some of the amazing things that you've been doing. So perfect.
I feel the same.
You mentioned that when things get rough, you always end up doing something outward for other people.
Such like a sweet thing to say about me. Thank you. Yes, and you actually do remind me a lot of how I grew up. Talking to you feels very much like I'm with, you know, my grandparents' family, you know, the Kriegers and all of that, and that is really where I feel like that smile that you're talking about, that love and that heart that's in me to react in difficult situations is really from my mom's side of the family and all of the love that I was surrounded with. My Grandma Krieger had the best, most positive attitude in the world. I mean, she made lemonade from lemons daily. You know, nothing was too bad and nothing was, you know, too difficult. Everything was doable. She handled everything with grace, with a smile, with laughter, and with strength. And that was handed down to my mother. And honestly, Jessica, I don't think that I really dug down inside of myself to find that. I've been through a lot of difficult circumstances. My ending up in Nashville was through divorce, becoming a single mother, having to raise 3 children, moving to a place sight unseen, picking myself up and making an entirely new life. And I would love to say I did that with grace and a smile, but I cried a lot. I cried a lot, and it was a very, very difficult transition. And I had a lot of experiences over the years. I've been here now 9 years, and it occurred to me really during COVID that it's my turn to pull that out of me. You know, I lost my mom 2.5 years ago to pancreatic cancer. I then lost my grandmother, her mother, 2 weeks later. And then my grandfather, my mom's dad, died on my grandmother's birthday right after that. So the Krieger side, everything suddenly went away. Mm-hmm. And you know, and I want to say this to people because it's not a place I get to delve into a lot, and things that I've done recently actually have a lot to do with loss and helping people in that way, even though it's not outwardly so much that way. But what I really want everyone to know is how much it's helped me and where it's really come from and where it's grown from. And it has grown from loss and a decision to pick up the baton that's been laying there, because how are my children going to know the love and the warmth and the traditions and the memories if I don't pick it up and begin to pass it on? Now we're talking about my son is already 16 years old. My oldest daughter is 21. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of people feel like I never did traditions. I let it go, and look how old my kids are and it's too late. But it's not too late. And that's really the concept of baking new memories. It's never too late to bake a new memory. I started it with my own children.
Yes, and Baking New Memories, for people that don't know, is a Facebook page where people contribute recipes of their family and their ancestors, recipes that trigger smells from the past, where all of a sudden something's cooking and you picture your grandmother in the kitchen doing it, or the family getting together for the holiday meal. I posted in that as well, because every time I cook one of my grandmother's recipes, I just feel it. I sense it. Her memory is alive. I teach it to my children. They have the smell, and I tell them stories. And the best way to keep all of our family alive and all the spirits alive are through stories and pictures, visuals, and smells.
That's right. And the smells.
So I'm so glad that you created that page.
Thank you. And thank you for posting your kugel, your grandmother's kugel, because you put like pineapple in it. That is so awesome. I never would have thought of that, and I can't wait to try it. I love kugel so much. It's one of my favorite things. But that's exactly right. This idea didn't, it wasn't in me to do. I wasn't like, oh, one day when I have time, I'm going to start a Facebook group called Baking New Memories. None of that ever crossed my mind. COVID is why this was sparked, you know, and this goes for everybody. People get so busy with life, and that's not, you know, our fault. It's just, the way that life is. We get super busy. Look, I was a single mother. I'm working full time in the healthcare field. I'm traveling part of the time for my work. My children, I've been single this whole entire time. I raised my children by myself, or they kind of raised themselves. You know, they did a great job. I'm proud of each of them. I did my job and made sure they survived, and they're doing great. But when COVID happened, because I am in healthcare, dental, and dental was completely shut down. So
yes, we're going to talk about that a little bit afterwards as well. But yes,
yeah, perfect.
I had all of this time.
Suddenly, I have all this time on my hands. Interestingly, there is another topic that eventually we'll get into over the year. But this all began with I was asked to speak at a conference, and it called On Point here in Nashville. COVID ended up canceling the whole thing, but we got an amazing group of women together lined up for it for 2021. We're super excited. I've got all kinds of great things that are coming through the year, but I had created a little extra Facebook page thinking for that, for On Point, I would have a little something. I didn't have a bio. I didn't have a website. I didn't have a professional picture of myself, and they're asking for all these things so they could promote the weekend that was coming up.
Thinking about.
It's called Facing Your Virtual Mountain. So it's a women's retreat started by this amazing woman, Dr. Tammy Barnett. She started this fantastic group. She's married to a football coach. They've had to move all over, and she wanted to start like a group for it began with women who were married to athletes or coaches, because there's a lot of moving. So she wanted to have sort of like a forum, a place for people to come and say, okay, I'm in this city now. Does anybody know like what vet I should go to? What are the schools like, you know? And I know what that's like. I'm not married to somebody like that, but I transplanted suddenly. And it was like this perfect storm of, she just realized after the first year that this could really convey to just every woman, you know, and lots of people need a support group when they get going somewhere or whatever. So that's what this is about. And so, yeah, it dropped into my lap. That's a whole different story, and everybody will get to hear that one. It was a crazy story. But my mom was involved in that story. As long as she's been gone, I have to say she's done a lot of work in my life the last 2.5 years. My mother's very present with me, as much as I miss her.
So talk about that a little bit, because you are a believer that there's a spirit among us, and it's your mom, and she's watching over you. She gives you strength, a lot of your guidance, and she was an amazing person. She actually, my mother was diagnosed with MS years and years ago, and she was a nurse. And she used to actually come to the house in the very beginning when my mother didn't know what to do with how to treat herself and whatnot. And she used to give my mother the shots. Your dad used to drive her over. Your dad and my mom went to school together. Like, we're from a one-horse town. I don't know.
I remember that.
How small of a town we're all from, but
it's big. Minuscule.
And it's, you know what? It's so great to see what people have become and where people have gone and the experiences that they've had and just the connections that they've had. And we need to hold on to that. So, you know, you and I connecting again we haven't talked in years. And there was maybe a reason why you and I started chatting again, you know? So
definitely.
I've already learned from you.
I've learned from you, I believe that 100%. You know, there's something like wonderful happening. And I think that if everybody would just sort of follow what it is inside your heart, whatever that is, if you feel that you're called to something, if you feel there's something bigger, there is something bigger. You can tap into it. I found out with COVID that I forgot that I love baking. I forgot, you know, when my kids were little, I would bake all the time. And even once in a while, like I would just throw a box cake in, because you want the house to feel warm. You want the aromas, you want them to feel loved. And we got that from our family through food. And that's, you know, even if it's a box cake, that's what I tell people, even if it's a box cake and you just throw a little pudding in it or something to make it a little bit different.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. It's the memory. It's the smell. It's the, this is what I used to do for my child. And then your child's going to do that for their family. So, but I remembered I actually like baking, like actually real baking. So I reached out to my aunt, Marcy, my mom's sister, and I said, do you have great grandma's mandel bread recipe? We called it mandelbrot. And she said, I do. And I said, great. I said, I want it. I've never made it before in my life. It's going to be an epic fail, but I'm still going to do it. My kids are quarantined home with me. We're bored. You know, what better time to try something?
And mandel bread is basically like a biscotti, but yeah.
Watch. Hello.
Hey, Lena still has an hour at the vet, and I have to go to work in 30 minutes.
Okay, Jan can probably go pick her up.
She's not here. She went to her house in Nashville.
Oh no, we have a dog situation.
Oh no.
I have no idea what to do. This is so stupid. I am so annoyed.
That's okay. I'll figure it out.
Well, they close at 6.
Okay, it's 3:30.
I know.
I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
I want to freaking quit.
I love you.
I'm so over this.
All right, Eden. I'm on a Zoom call right now.
Okay.
Love you. Bye.
See, this is one take with Jess. This is real life.
Listen, I did my last Baking New Memories 2 Sundays ago, and we had a whole nother thing I was dealing with Eden, and I had to take the call. It's called multitasking. What can I do? I'm a mom. She's got no one else to call. So the dog is about to get stuck at PetSmart, and nobody can pick the dog up. So.
All right, we'll work that out. The dog will get a ride home.
Or in a few hours. We'll figure it out.
To get the dog back.
Yeah.
But this is an example of real life, and this is quarantine time and pandemic and family first and
totally
new memories.
Exactly. I'm baking a new memory every day. So the whole thing with baking new memories, so I got that recipe, I got the kids in the kitchen, and we just did it. And listen, one of the measurements was a juice glass of orange juice. I have no idea what that means. Like, what's a juice glass? An 8-ounce glass? I remember juice glasses used to be really small, right?
Yes.
We don't use those.
I go to a ton of estate sales and I see juice glasses all the time. They're like the tiny little crystallized, you know, like little textured glasses.
Exactly. Teensy.
Yeah.
Nobody's got room for juice glasses anymore.
No.
But I found out it was 5 ounces. So anyway, I did it. It came out amazing. I told all kinds of stories to my children. They had a memory of my mother making it once before. My great-grandmother made it all the time. It was a staple. And all the memories came flooding back. And I said to myself, I have to do, this is what I have been missing. I am going to do this with my children. I am going to do all kinds of memories with them. I'm going to start baking. I'm going to start telling them stories.
You want a legacy. I totally get it. You want a legacy. You want to know that you mattered, that you were here. You want your kids to remember things that you did. I totally get it.
100%. Otherwise, where would they get it from?
Yeah.
I'm all they've got left to do this.
Yes.
So I wrote a story.
My grandparents would be proud of you. Your mother, your great-grandparents, everyone.
Thank you so much. I used to feel my great-grandmother with me when I was a stay-at-home mother and raising the children. They were very small back when we lived in New York in Gardner. And I felt her with me all the time. And I knew, I could feel that the spirit of the family was coming through me toward my children. And I felt she was there, like approving all the time. Yes, pass it on, pass it on. But in the busyness, that went away. And I remember thinking recently, right before I started Baking New Memories, how I haven't felt my great grandmother in such a long time. And it's because I got so busy.
Yeah. And now you do. And now you feel her.
Of course, I feel everybody.
You're going to make me cry, because I feel the same way with my grandmother. There's times where I want to call her and tell her what's going on, because I know she would be really, really happy.
Proud.
And she'd be proud and she'd approve. And
That's
I want to
right.
show her the picture of what I made of her recipe. And she'll say, why did you not add that ingredient and the other ingredient? There's one recipe that I totally modify it beyond belief. Like it's a date nut loaf bread, and she puts in dates and I put in dried apricots instead. And she's like, why would you do that? You know, it's like blasphemy, but it's funny. It's totally funny.
But that's okay, because you're baking a new memory. And that's the thing. And I try to tell people that all the time, even if you don't have the exact recipe that you remember, if you can find just a base for that recipe and put in what you can remember, as long as it invokes the aromas and it's similar, it's going to do. And it's okay to make up a new thing and start a new memory. That's the whole thing. And I do it all the time. I'm constantly modifying other people's recipes to make it my own, and it's becoming a new thing, you know? And I think that is what is important.
Are you feeling a little bit sad that things are starting to open up again and life is kind of getting back to normal? Because I kind of have this, I feel bad for it, but I really have enjoyed the time where the kids have been doing online schooling and you know, been doing a lot more at home. I don't want life to go back to as normal as it was.
I know. Yes, I totally get that. When we started to open back up and the orthodontic office was opening, I was like, no, I'm not ready. Like, I'm baking new memories. This is the new me. I just bake now, you know? And
could you imagine that this being like a total pivot in your career? And
I hope so. I have imagined it. Yeah, I've imagined it. And here's the thing, and everybody needs to understand this too. I have been with my doctor, Dr. Michael, with Coolwater Orthodontics for 7 years. And I love him and his family so much. And we're a family at work. And I can't, his wife is so good to me. He's so good to me. I have such an amazing work environment. And I love my patients. And we see our patients for a long time because they have braces. So it's long treatments. We're seeing them for years, and I'm watching children grow into boys and girls that are graduating and going to college. And, you know, all of this, there's a lot involved in orthodontics and in our relationships with each other. And so as much as I would hate to leave orthodontics, you know, I really do believe that and I would do anything for these people. I will do anything to stay involved in ortho, but I do feel a shift and something is happening in my life. And I'm open to that 100%. I've gotten involved in quite a number of things since Baking New Memories, including the Iron Will and all that kind of stuff. But also, here's something nobody knows yet.
What?
You get to hear it for the first time.
Is this top secret? Is this a revelation?
Yes, it's a revelation. Top secret revelation that I'm putting out there through your podcast.
Okay.
I just received my certificate for my 60 hours toward my real estate license. I have been working on it for the last 5 months at home, online, and I just took the final exam for my school that I did online, and I passed it. So that has been passed on to Tennessee State Real Estate place where I have to go take my state exam. And I already am signed with Keller Williams to work with them.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So how are you fitting all this in? This is amazing. So are you showing houses on the weekends?
Well, I don't know when. I have no idea. So, you know, right now I just had to do the schooling, and I would tell that I would use this as a whole nother example. You do have to be self-motivated to do this because I did it online, and at the time, it wasn't during COVID, I made a decision that I needed to add some supplemental income, and why not do real estate, you know? Yeah. I just want to progress and I want to do more. So who doesn't? So I thought, well, my
I
brother.
love it. This is what I'm talking about. Like, you know, it's not like you're not involved with a lot of stuff. You have to get yourself involved with another thing and expand your horizons even more. This is
I
why
want to.
this is why you're you.
I want to because I'm still a single mom and I want to leave a legacy for my children, not just with the baking and all of these, you know, outreaches and wonderful things that are such a huge element, an important part of life. I'm a philanthropist 100%. I love to find a way to give to someone that needs. If there's an emergency situation, my immediate reaction is I'm on it. What can I do? I don't care if I raise $10 or just give you a bunch of clothes, like whatever. I'm going to be rallying and finding a way to help, you know? That's my heart. And I think it's beautiful. And I think that that's important for my children to be involved in. At the same time, you know, I'm a capitalist. I want to make money. I'm going to find a way to do better by my kids and make sure that I leave them something to have, you know. I don't want them to work as hard, to have to work as hard as I did. But and if they see me doing all of these things too, they realize you can do anything you want to do in this
Now, how
life.
is that going for you though? Because as a mom, you have 3 kids, I have 2. Your kids are 2 out of 3 super motivated like you, or 1 out of 3, or none out of 3, or 3 out of 3? Because, you know, I'm also very super motivated. My husband's got a different sort of personality, and
You're a go-getter.
Our both kids have taken on each of our personalities, and changing one of the personalities, which is not the go-getter, is like pushing a boulder through a tiny door. Wait,
yeah.
Analogy? I don't even know if that's.
Yeah, I like it. That's a perfect.
Trying to shove something in a place where it doesn't belong, or it's not.
Yeah, so that's when you have to get out the chisel and the hammer and start doing the really tough work on that.
We would chisel and hammer that, but that other boulder is comfortable being a boulder outside.
I know.
I want it in the door.
I know. What can you do? That's what I say. What can you do?
How has your personality translated, and your example that you've shown and all of the gumption that you have and the grit, how is that translated into your kids and their actions?
Sure. I'm really lucky. My children are extremely self-sufficient because they've had to be. Of course, when I moved here and, you know, I came, just me and my kids, my parents and both my brothers all moved to Nashville. I was working in the.
Who was down there first?
Gavin. Yeah, Gavin was here doing music. You know, he was right. Doing production and making albums, stuff like that. He fell in love with Nashville, and then my parents and Joey would come while he was working and visit, and everybody fell in love with Nashville. So my parents would always say, my mother would say, we're going to move to Nashville one day. You and the kids are coming. We're going to, and I would be like, you know, I was married. My husband was working for the state of New York. I was a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, how is that ever going to happen? Like, how am I moving to Nashville? I don't see that. My kids are this big. I had babies. All these years later, you know, I'm getting a divorce. And my brother Joey said, how about let's move to Nashville and right. give you a new start, and, you know, give the kids a fresh start, and you can come work at the bar until you figure out what you want to do. So
now, when you say work at the bar, Joey actually set up shop and opened up Nashville Underground, which is a thriving, wonderful restaurant down in Nashville. Yes. And work at the bar is like not some kind of like shabby, hey, you know,
no.
The bar.
That's right. But at the time, it really was a hole in the wall. This is 9 years ago when we first moved here. He had just the first floor. It was called the National Underground at that time, based on the New York bar that he had opened in the city. It was fantastic. It was amazing. But this was really his first venture in Nashville. Now, 9 years later, it's 4 stories. It's a multi-million-dollar enterprise. It's got the highest rooftop. Two rooftops in Nashville. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. The food is phenomenal. But at the time, I was new to the bar and restaurant business. I was waiting tables. I was booking music. I was bartending. Now, this is, my kids were little. My oldest one moving here was only 12. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this was a lot of work for me, and I had to have a sitter overnight because I would work very late hours and all of that. And I knew that's not what I wanted to do. So I became a dental assistant. I went to school, became a dental assistant. 7 years later, you know, I am adding real estate into my life. I've been doing dental for all of these years. It completely changed my life. That's another thing I would tell people. Google can't really tell you if going to school for a trade is worth it. It's worth it. Okay? Because what you're going to get on Google is dental assistants make X amount of blah, 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 blah. You don't know anything until you actually do it. You get into the trade and you see all of the opportunity and the world that opens up to you. No, I had no idea in dental I'm going to start traveling on Fridays and get paid mileage and more to travel, and then travel one Saturday a month to Chattanooga, and you get paid well to do all this, people. This is not what you think it is. There's specialties.
But it is what you make of it. So I will say, you're the one that signs up for that. I'm going to travel to Chattanooga and I am going to help people that don't have access to dental, you know, whatever. Is that the purpose of traveling?
That actually is very interesting that you bring that up, because it's in Cookeville and in Chattanooga. It is mostly state-funded orthodontic care. So in Chattanooga, it's a very interesting, and I've worked this way before when I first started at another place here in Nashville with my doctor. I've done a lot of different things with him, but we have kids that come in from morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're there all day waiting for their appointment. They actually bust them in, and they stay there all day long, hours and hours, until, wait for their appointment. But we do that, and we hustle. We don't take breaks on those days. We hustle and we get as much done as we can, and we, just want to smile, and we want to give them a great smile,
That's good. That's the inspirational stuff that I'm talking about. That's why talking to you leaves me with a bunch of to-do things on my side. How can I be better? How can I work harder? How can I help other people? Because that's exactly what you're doing. A lot of people can become a dental person or dental assistant or assistant, and just be comfortable sitting in that chair 5 days a week, and that's it. But you go above and beyond. How can
personality? That's why I tell everybody, if they say, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? How well do you think I'll do? And my answer is,
you got to get it.
It's all about your personality. You're going to learn you're going to learn all of the technical stuff. It's about your personality while you're learning all that, until you're great at what you're doing and you're still just bringing your personality to the table every day.
And the life lesson is you have to go after it. You have to broaden it. You have to expand it. Every time you've learned it, broaden it and expand it even more. And that's what you're all about. So, I mean, that's crazy that it's not crazy. It's you. Every single time you get complacent, you're like, what can I do to make a difference? What can I, with the baking new memories and with the other opportunities that you're venturing into, this other seminar that you were going to be doing.
Yeah, I know. It's so crazy, but amazing. I can't wait for that one to come around. You should come into town for that. Be right up your alley.
Okay.
Yeah, come to Nashville. You have a standing invitation.
We're probably looking to move at some point in the future, so maybe you'll find us a new house. Like, we need people, we need friends and family around us.
Oh my gosh, do it. You should move to Nashville.
Was in Nashville. Ben was in Nashville. He was part of the Allentown High School choir. I think mainly because the teacher is great, and there was a trip to Nashville. So he made sure to become part of choir in order to pretty much go to Nashville, and he did.
I love that.
Loves it. He absolutely adores. I'm like, Ben, where should we move in the future as a family? Nashville. We have to move to Nashville.
My son is in choir as well. Is Ben a smarty pants?
He is. He goes to Penn State now, but
yeah, my son's smarty pants also. Oh, those choir boys. I tell you,
he wasn't really a choir boy. He just wanted the trip for sure.
That's hilarious. Well, Cameron actually loves choir. That's how he talks. He's a tenor or a bass. I don't even know. It's like something crazy. You went to mid-state, all-state. Yeah, back to the kids. How do they do? Analia, she's 21. She is graduating UTC, that's the University of Tennessee in Chattanooga, a semester early, so she's already a senior. She will have a bachelor's in biology, pre-professional. She's extremely smart, honor society. She's studying to be a veterinarian. She was going to take a year off, but she called me the other day and said, I think I might apply to graduate school now. She said, I just don't want to spend the money. I said, Analia, come on, we'll spend the money. Let's do it. Just apply. Let's see what happens, So she said, okay, so we'll see. I think she's going to apply and do that. Eden is my free bird. She's me. She's my mini me. She's going to be 19 years old. Tattoos, piercings, colored hair, tinsel in her hair, gorgeous, makes clothes. I mean, decided during COVID that she was bored. She had a blanket that was falling apart that was all colorful. She said, I'm going to make an outfit. And she took my sewing machine, which I've never used, and she's never used, and made an outfit.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's
and
like
put it on, and it was gorgeous.
That's awesome.
And then she just decided she was moving to Chattanooga. She is a server. She makes good money. She just went and got an apartment. She left me. I'm sad. Cameron is in 10th grade. He'll be dual enrolling next year. He just took his AP physics test online now, of course. His last AP test, he got a 5 on. That was AP Human or something. He thought he failed it. He got a 5. That's the best that you can do.
Yeah.
He also is projected here in the South. It's ACTs. It's not SATs. It's ACTs. 36 is the highest that you can get. Cameron was given the ACT in 7th grade based on his ridiculous math skills. He scored an 18, which is the national average for community college student. And they are projecting him now with several practice tests to get a 34 on his ACT. So that's almost a perfect score. He's brilliant.
That's great.
And he wants to.
Job well done. As a mom, job well done.
Thank you.
Take all the credit for all the good and shield yourself from any of the bad. Be like,
that's right.
I don't know.
He wants to be an astrophysicist. That's his plan.
That's wonderful.
On top of that, and I want to say this too, if your child is not into sports and not into all that, it is okay. Don't freak out. My son is not a sports kid. I bought him a bike. He rode it one time. He said, I hate it. I don't want to ride bikes. He doesn't want to drive a car. I'm still trying to shove that down his throat. He's like, I'm never going to live anywhere where I need to drive a car. Okay.
Wow.
I'm like, well, yeah, he doesn't care. He is a gamer. He plays Overwatch. And several years ago, I said to him this, Cameron, that's okay if that's what you want to do. But if that's what you're going to be doing, you need to be the best at it. So I want you to work really hard. He's currently in the top 800 out of 16 million in the US and moving on up. So we're working on all of his skills and talents. And that.
Now, who told you that? Who told you that in your childhood? Who told
Nobody.
You that? Who told your brother that? None of your parents ever said?
I would say really my Grandma Krieger for me was you can do anything.
You can do
anything you want to be.
But you have to be the best at it.
That's right.
Someone.
Nobody ever told me that. Nobody ever told me that. No.
Cars.
None of it. I promise you that, and this is okay too, and people need to understand this. And I was a very rebellious teenager. I was no great, wonderful kid. I really, listen, Eden is a lot like me, but Eden is much more,
I think it's a lot more in fashion to be rebellious nowadays. You're not necessarily a bad kid. You're just like cool
different.
And
different. Exactly. Exactly. I just made a decision when I had the children that, they can be whatever they want to be. They can do whatever they want to do. And I'm going to tell you, my father says it to me all the time. He says, you raised them right. You did the right thing. They all know my children have no rules. There's no rules. There's never been any rules in my house. There's been no rules that they've had to abide by.
What?
Not one.
Does anyone get in trouble? What is your?
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, first of all, I'm very lucky. I had very smart children. So I would commend them for finally getting a failing grade. And I would say that makes you normal. Thank God you're normal.
Okay, but like, what about curfews or boyfriends or what's the social?
I allowed them to explore and do what they want in that regard. There really weren't curfews as long as I knew where they were. And I never really, and because they were really allowed to do anything. It was like not fun to rebel against that. There was nothing to rebel against. They'd be like, I'll just come home, whatever.
You got lucky. You dodged a bullet. I do have to say, in terms of parenting, because you would have like taken a lot of heat from a lot of other parents that are like,
probably,
what is this, like, free.
But let me tell you, without divulging a lot about which child I had to do this with, you could probably guess. But I did run into some issues at one point around the age of between 12 and 14. And if I told you the story of how I handled it, let's just say the school was involved, the police were involved, there was a lot of involvement and a lot of fear instilled. And then all forms of communication were removed, and I was her only friend. And if she wanted to go anywhere, I was the only person she was allowed to go with. And if she wanted to go on her computer, she had to be sitting right next to me. And she was.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good.
So much work, and I was so mad at her. I would come home from work and say, I can't believe that I have to come home now and work for another hour because of all this stupid crap you do, But whatever. It was fine. And it made us best friends, like this, the best of friends. Because if she wanted to do anything, she had to be with me. And of course, she didn't want to just sit home. We did everything together.
Maybe she was craving that. Maybe she was craving that level of discipline and attention and needed that. So
I agree 100%. So I'm glad that
parenting is an art. Parenting is definitely an art. How have they been taking to the online schooling?
How are they taking to online schooling?
Yeah.
They did great.
Fine?
Yeah, they did great. Annalee's doing totally fine. Cameron, I ask him all the time, like, how's it going in isolation? He's like, it's totally no different than my normal life. I don't know. Okay. Eden, after last semester, we just decided she was going to take a break from school. She's not ready for school at all. It's not her thing, and that's okay. The boys, my brothers, neither of them went to college. It's not their thing. Annalea, totally fine. Yep, she finished everything up online and good to go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I wish all the best for your kids.
Let's
talk about your brothers for a minute. Let's talk about Gavin. How is it to be the sister of Gavin Degraw? And is that do you feel like a level of responsibility comes with that, or is it just like it's regular? Like, he's your brother, for God's sake. Your little brother. Like, he was like annoying.
The baby. Exactly. And I say that all the time. I'm like, yes, he's Gavin Degraw, but I've been watching him sing in his underwear his entire life.
It's true.
Yeah, it is true. Being his sister is awesome. He's a totally great guy. In the beginning, listen, first of all, I always knew that he was going to be a star. Okay, that's A. From the minute we did beg him to shut up most of the time, though, in the car. He sang and he sang and he sang and he sang his entire life. It's like he came out singing and be like, will you stop singing? Driving us nuts. But eventually he's writing songs and this beautiful voice is coming out and you're like, okay. And I knew he's going to be a star. So, it was weird in the beginning when, of course, labels are starting to come after him and things like that. And then it's scary because it's like, am I going to lose my brother in this, industry? And now he's got managers and all these people that aren't his family surrounding him and, sort of separating us in a way.
Did you, like, looking back, like right now at this moment, did you lose your brother at all?
No. That's
awesome.
Yeah, no, not at all. At the time, it was a little bit crazy, and my parents were feeling it too. But Gavin, in Gavin's style, because he loves his family so much, decided to retire my parents and actually make them his manager. So the family got completely involved in all of his business, and so all of that fear and concern went away. Also, on top of it, who's going to care for Gavin more than his parents and his family.
Absolutely.
So it worked out well in that respect. It really did.
That's good. And
Yeah.
is he like on tour in his like working from home, putting out songs from home?
Working from home, and he's actually in the studio now working on a new album. So that's exciting. But there's really no tours being scheduled at all. You know, nothing's being scheduled. So I
It
don't
is
know.
strange. The whole industry is definitely taking a hit from this.
Oh, big time. Big time. Yes. And he's clear about that. It is definitely a hit. I mean, everybody from, you know, I mean, look, we're in Nashville, my brother's own bar on Broadway. We rely on tourism, on, you know, also there's musicians. This is their life. This is their job. They play up and down Broadway day and night. You know, this is their income. So the music industry all around is taking a major hit, you know, but just, you know, like everybody who decided they're going to do something with the time, they're finding ways to still get out there and get online and do shows like Blue October, who I love so much. They, you know, they did a couple of concerts that you could like pay whatever you wanted to see Justin Furstenfeld, you know, sing acoustic from a particular album or whatever, like a whole concert length show, which is fantastic. You know, $20, you get to sit there and just watch your favorite band play. So
that's awesome. I love the creativity that's come out of this.
It's
and
crazy.
All the different ways that people didn't even know that they could actually consume, you know, artists and shows and yeah.
I never knew. I was like, I had Blue October tickets and it got canceled because of COVID, and then it got rescheduled. And I'm like, I just don't think that this is actually going to happen. And then I'm like, they're doing a concert online. This is awesome. It was great. I'm satisfied.
That's great. So tell me, what are the other things that you're doing as well? You are partnered with an organization. There you go.
Iron Will, right? Come on, Jessica, it's cocktail hour.
I'm already done.
Oh, Lord. It's the straw.
Oh my God, this straw is like, I don't know, if you had like a 40 gauge needle, I don't even know if that's appropriate, like 40 gauge, if that's like, it's like a hose. It's like a fire hose that I'm drinking.
One sip and your drink is gone. Done. Iron Will Network, so awesome. So this actually is through a friend of mine. Her name is Judy Diathelm. She's an amazing woman. She's worked a lot with Gavin in the past. She's very affiliated with NASCAR, St. Jude's. She does all kinds of awesome stuff. She knows a lot of people. She's just like the sweetest person in the entire world. Look her up on Facebook if you don't know who she is.
I think you put me in touch with Judy. We were actually, we were playing like phone tag a bunch of times. Yes.
Yes. Isn't she great? She's busy, but she's fantastic. Involved in a lot of stuff. So she got involved with Iron Will Network. There's actually an app, and all of that will be up afterwards, like different ways that you can access the things that I do. The baking group is private. However, everyone's invited. I keep it private for my group's sake. We're sharing memories and you know, and intimate things with each other. We're helping each other with, you know, people are saying, you know, when I made this and I thought of my mother, and you know, and I miss my mother, and then the story of that kind of stuff, you know. So we are trusting each other within the group. So, you know, it's sort of a support group too. So, and it is for me. So, but if you ask to join, you'll be allowed to come. You just got to answer a few simple questions. Iron Will, I am so blessed that Judy even asked me to be a part of this. She made Baking New Memories a channel on Iron Will. So Iron Will is for first responders and veterans for suicide prevention. And you can look up Iron Will Network. Like, there's all kinds of amazing stuff there. And this was created to be able to download as an app, to search through channels, to give hope, inspiration, you know, that kind of stuff. So she's got not only channels from like some things that were born out of COVID, like Baking New Memories, and like the podcast that I do with Brad, SMH Lab, things like that. I mean, Reese Witherspoon has a channel up there.
So it's like an aggregator
and Chip.
A big aggregator of good things.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I opened it up and I was like, wait, Reese Witherspoon's channel is like right under mine.
Yeah, and Neil Patrick Harris is on there as well. There's a lot of
really,
people, including you.
that sounds crazy.
That is crazy.
It's crazy, but I really am trying to promote the Iron Will a lot because it's such just a helpful, amazing organization. And especially now with COVID, all the first responders, the things that they've had to, they are essential workers. They've been out there the entire time through all the fear, through all the unknown, through all the craziness, putting their lives at risk, which they do all the time anyway. And then on top of it, and it's highly infectious disease.
I know.
So,
I think we're starting to get a little numb to the whole first responder thing and the essential workers. I don't want people to, but I think people are starting to get a little numb to it in thanking the first responders because COVID is still out there. We've really done a good job.
Or is it?
What?
I said, or is it? Yeah. Listen, I don't know. The riots have completely outweigh COVID over here.
I know, but we have to see what happens 14 days from now to see
I know
in the hospitals. But actually, that'll be quite telling. But you know what? We all did a good job of just bringing it to a halt and flattening the curve and all that fun stuff by staying inside. I agree. Yeah.
So, I agree 100%. And
I happens, but I hope people don't start getting numb to the fact that all of the essential workers are still very essential. And firemen,
totally.
First responders are always going to be the ones that run in to a building when everyone is running out.
That's right.
That's always. We owe our lives.
100%. And they've been out there
after the fact, sure.
They've been out there the entire time. Well, along with Iron Will Network, I just want to mention, I don't know if you saw, I don't know how we're doing on time, but Tamara and Charles Williams, who lost their home in the tornado in Cookeville, the tornado that came through Nashville and into Cookeville. I have a GoFundMe set up for them. Hope Rises is a channel on Iron Will. They are going to be putting out like an awesome blog about this family. I really hope everybody will go check it out. I've been working with Charles and Tamara since the day the tornadoes happened to help them raise money, to help them have everything that they need as they try to rebuild. What's so cool is the connection that happened with Iron Will, because Charles is actually a veteran and he served 2 tours in Iraq and 1 in Afghanistan. And he's a disabled veteran who then lost his entire home. Thank God his family survived. But their survival story is quite amazing. That's all going to be coming out. I don't know how they lived. Right across the street from them was the highest percentage of death from that particular tornado. The community was completely flattened. But the reason I got involved with them, is this is the sister of my very dear friend and coworker, Carissa, who is the other ortho assistant that I work with. We're like sisters. So when I found that this happened to her sister and her sister's family, I was right on it and just started getting everybody involved. Actually, everybody that was getting involved with the On Point, I was like, switch gears. Girls, we need to coordinate, get food, get clothes, get money, get whatever we can. And we just started rallying. And so I told Tamara and Charles at the time, a lot of times, people will do a lot of stuff really quickly for someone and just at that time, but then the longevity falls away. But I told them, I don't know how much I can do, but I can do it for a long time. And I think it's important to do it for a long time. And so I just, asked them if it was okay if I keep talking about it and if I keep asking them to make an appearance here or there or say something or whatever.
Well, that's good. That's good. I really feel that that's good that you've taken this as one of your purposes and you're helping this one family. That's great. And if everyone did that for a family, that would be wonderful too.
So awesome. I love them.
I could tell.
And through our baking group, guess what we got?
What?
I work with an awesome Pampered Chef consultant, okay? Our baking group gets 10% off Pampered Chef all the time. Her name is Catherine Sharp. All the time. You can get whatever you want. You're always getting 10% off. Well, of course, I'm the host of every benefits. I'm the host of every party. But I'm not going to take all the stuff. That's crazy.
Right.
I don't even have room for all like the stuff, you know. I did for the first one. I'm like, oh, I'll take this, 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 and that, and I'll you know, feature stuff on my lives and on videos and all this kind of stuff. But for my second month and ongoing, all of the free things and discounted things are for Tamra and her family until she has everything that's on her Pampered Chef wish list, because they lost every single thing that they owned in the tornado. So we're going to get their kitchen full, and they've got a really good start from May, let me tell you.
That's
a really good start.
That's very, very generous of you. Very sweet.
I'm happy for them.
Yay, go you.
She just needs to cook me a lot of food.
Oh yeah, that is good. That is a good thank you.
Yeah.
And then post it and share it with us.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Oh. All right. Well, you know what? I think we're going to have to do a part 2 coming up.
Part 2. I know. I talked a lot about stuff I don't normally talk about.
No, this was good. This was just regular good. And you know what you're doing, hopefully it inspires other people to do what's important to them. This is very important to you. A lot of the stuff that you're working on, you know, I want to talk to you about good health. And next, in part 2, I want to talk to you about good health and things that you're doing to keep in shape and to keep healthy. And
I'd love to talk about all of that.
Ancestry.com stuff.
Yes. Oh my gosh. See, this is what I mean. There's so many subjects and it's so bizarre.
Yes.
Like when I started my website, I was like, how many pages can I have up on here? Like there's so many like random things happening.
We're going to put it all together. We will put it all together in part 2.
Yes.
So now
Baking New Memories.
What? Baking New Memories.
Baking New Memories.
Everyone go join Baking New Memories if you want the nostalgia, sharing recipes, you know, for the purpose of all that and nourishing the soul, all that stuff.
Exactly. Please do. I'd love to have you there because it's like, I love it so much. And I love trying everybody's recipes. I don't eat all of it.
No.
We are going to have to talk about that working out and staying healthy part.
We are. And you look like you're keeping in shape, and the family.
I don't have a choice.
I know. I really do want to let you go though, because someone's got to pick up that dog.
Oh my God, poor Lena.
Remember the dog?
What am I supposed to do?
I don't know, but there's like a thunderstorm coming in here, and I'm just like looking at the weather, and I see that my room has gotten dark around me. And I have to pee really bad for the drinks that I just had. So we're definitely going to need to like get part 2 going. Maybe we'll even record it tomorrow.
Let's do that. That sounds great.
Okay.
I'd love to.
All
You're
right.
gorgeous. I love your beautiful smile.
Oh, yay. You're gorgeous too. And thank you for
having me on.
With a smile. Every time I talk to you, I'm like, I know she's smiling on the other end of the phone, no matter what you're talking about, sad or not sad. I know that you just have like just such a great disposition. I want you to. It's infectious. I want you to share.
I feel lucky. I'm so lucky that my grandmother was like that, and my mother. That's where it came from. Listen, man, if you're gonna let life get you down, I mean, there's so many things in life. You gotta just put a smile on and just deal with it. You know, we do it one time. We may as well
inherit this. You already have your legacy. Your kids are gonna inherit this. It's good.
Thank you. That's what's important to me.
All right. I will
do what you got to do and do it with a smile.
Exactly. Sometimes even like something will fall out of my refrigerator and it'll crash to the floor, and my daughter will be there or my kids, and I'll turn and be like, well, it was taking up too much space anyway. Whatever. One less dish to put back in the closet. Who cares? And instead of being like, oh my God, something crashed to the floor, we have to clean it up. It's not going to go any further. The spill is what it is. If it crashed, we'll clean it up.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. One less thing to stick in the cabinet. Yay.
Exactly. One less thing to eat.
Yeah. So I could tell that you're putting that out there into the universe as well. So good for you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jess.
All right. I will catch up with you tomorrow.
See you in part 2.
Okie doke. Part 2.
Bye.